So guys, there's no right way or wrong way of doing this. People do these things different ways. If there's something that I do that you can help me with, leave it in the comments down below. My backing isn't quite wide enough for this quilt. Now, you are supposed to have at least 2 inches hanging off each side, and I haven't quite got that, but I'm going to work with it because I don't want to cut this backing in half and add a little bit of section right down the middle, because that's what you would have to do in order to gain them side bits to be a little bit wider. Now obviously these end sections here, they are quite a lot longer, and this is kind of what you want around your whole quilt. Like so, look at that. Look how much allowance I have got rather than at the sides. So if you are doing this, make sure that your backing is at least 2 or 3 inches longer than your actual quilt top. This is the part where your hardboard flooring comes in really handy, because I'm going to use painter's tape in order to stick it to the hardwood flooring. Painter's tape is perfect because it is not as sticky as obviously duct tape. You don't want to put duct tape to your floor because you're going to rip right off that paint on your floor. So using painter's tape is slightly sticky and it will hold that quilt backing in place for you. So now is the time to iron them creases out the back of your quilt. So these are creases from when they were on the bolt. Obviously you are going to get creases into it, it's going to be inevitable, but don't worry about the little tiny creases. These, I've got some quite harsh creases that I do have to iron out. The wrinkles are out, and I now have my painter's tape attached to my hardwood. Your quilt top needs to be face down, so you've got the wrong side facing up. You're creating a sandwich, so remember that the pretty side needs to be facing down, so you're looking at not the printed side. So now I have laid my batting to the backing, and as you can see it's really quite large. I would recommend doing a small quilt first. This one is a lot more manageable than trying to do a king size. You may need 2 people for this part if your quilt was bigger. So we're going to cut this quilt batting down to the size of just a little bit larger than the backing. This is where I've created a little bit of an issue for myself because I didn't have that width on my quilt. I highly recommend that you have at least a 3-inch overhang, because when you're putting your quilt top on, you want to make sure that you're getting your backing and your batting and the top enough coverage. So what I've done is just gathered my quilt top up a little bit, and I'm just going to lay it down here. Now you're just going to go around and you're just going to smooth the quilt top out, and you're just going to check by lifting up the quilt batting that you have everything on the underside here, and you're just going to check all the way around. And at this point you really don't need a spray baste. It's a very small quilt, so you don't really need any glue because there's going to be enough friction holding this top in place for the time being. For the next stage, I use these safety pins, and these are Quilter's safety pins. As you see, they're a little slightly bent. It's so you can get into your quilt batting top a lot more easily. Trust me, I love the dollar store and everything, but cheap safety pins are really just, I'm going to say it, crap. I would highly recommend that you get these. Now what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to go from the centre of your quilt. It doesn't have to be dead centre, but you're going to go from the centre of your quilt and you're going to pin or grip everybody into place. Like so. Now I'm probably going to do like every other block, just because once you start moving the quilt around, you don't want it to be moving on you. So I'm just going to grip every other block. You're better off overpinning than underpinning, in my opinion. Here we go, it's all pinned down. You could roll this into a ball if you wanted. I don't recommend it, but I'm just showing you as an example that it's not going to affect anything. As you can see, I've laid it back flat again and nothing has moved. So I'm just going to turn it around, and this is the back. I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video on how to make a quilt sandwich, and don't forget to hit that like button so people like you can find me. So the next thing I need to think about is how to free motion quilt this quilt. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss seeing me next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.